Shavua Tov and Chodesh Tov, Yair Spitz from the field here again. So before Shabbat, and the platoons got together to go over everything for the evening, summarize things for the day, instructions as we do every evening, and then at the end I got up to give instructions and some perspective for Shabbat. And basically what I said to them is according to the instructions sent out by the chief rabbinate of the army, and according to the halakha, war supersedes Shabbat. And this is not the regular supersedes. We're not looking to do anything in shinui or anything like that. It's not just a regular din of pikuach nefesh. There's a special din of milchama, of war on Shabbat, and it basically nulls Shabbat. This is pikuach nefesh of Am Yisrael, and I said therefore that they will see me as the rabbi walking around with my phone, checking my phone for updates. My phone will ring and I will answer it. I will be using a flashlight. I'll be turning on a flashlight, turning off a flashlight. If I'm able to daven, I will daven, but if not, I will not. And that everything, all of our efforts right now should be 100%, just like during the week, should be focused on fulfilling the missions that we received to the fullest. And part of that is also our ability to feel comfortable and to eat and to drink and to rest and everything that is needed for us to be fit and for combat and for the missions that we need to do. That comes first, and Shabbat is overridden for those purposes. And I went on to say, I said to them that for me as a observant person and for other people, this might be very difficult. But this is because this is the essence of our Torah, the essence of our faith, the essence of our emunah is the fact that is that life comes first and the existence of Am Yisrael comes first. And the only reason we have a Shabbat is in order for the existence and the meaning and the purpose of Am Yisrael. So if there is no Am Yisrael, what point is there of Shabbat? And therefore, Shabbat is set aside for the purpose of preserving, protecting Am Yisrael. Then I went on to say, I said, but just because we are going to be doing everything normally on this Shabbat, like we do every day, as part of the efforts of the combat efforts and being prepared to the best of our ability and to be well rested, so we can do what we need to do. Besides that, it's still Shabbat, and it's an opportunity. It's an opportunity for us to reflect. It's an opportunity for us to remember who we are as a people, to fall back on our traditions, to fall back on the things we remember from what we maybe did as kids or what we saw with our grandparents, each one as far as the background that they came from. So it's an opportunity to remember who we are as a people, where we come from, what are we doing here in this land, in this country, what are we trying to fight for. And I said that's what Shabbat is to take a step back from what we do during the week. And even if we're going to at the moment do what we do during the week, it's even more important for us to try to think and reflect. And I said, and therefore anyone who wants, we're going to create as many opportunities as we can during Shabbat. We're going to light candles. We're going to I said we're going to light candles if you can find where to light candles. And then we're going to have tefillah, and everyone is invited to join. And we're going to do kiddush, and we have chalot, and walk around. And anyone who's interested, we can sit and talk. And it's a good opportunity to try, as long as our missions allow us to still take advantage of Shabbat and feel Shabbat and remember what it's all about. Soon after that, a few of the female soldiers had come to me earlier and said that and asked me if there's any way that they'd be able to light candles, to light Shabbos candles. And at first I wasn't sure, because we're talking in the field, there's wind, we're next to vehicles, it could be dangerous. We're next to vehicles that are especially dangerous to have any fire next to them. I spoke to my commanding officers to explain to them that this is the request from some of the soldiers. These commanders, they are not observant, but they said absolutely 100% they understood how important it is for those specific female soldiers, but not only for them, but for everyone to be able to feel somewhat of a feeling of Shabbat. And they said, you know what? They said the candle should be lit in the command center. We were able to figure things out. I bought some two Nerot Neshama, which actually is very symbolic, because they're a little higher on the sides, so there's a better chance they'd stay lit. We took a metal case, I guess called a box that's meant for bullets. Took out all the bullets out. It's deep and metal. We put the two candles in there, and 3 minutes before Shkia, these two young ladies lit Shabbat candles with, I'd say, about 15-20 soldiers all gathered around them. It was extremely, extremely, extremely moving, and that's how we accepted Shabbat upon us as a battalion. Later on, I announced earlier when I was speaking to all the soldiers. I said anyone who's interested at 6:15, we're going to do Kabbalat Shabbat in Arvit over there in that area. Anyone who's interested is welcome to come. I really didn't know if we would have a minyan because the amount of soldiers we have in the unit who you would classically call observant is, I'd say, we're about 5, 6 soldiers. We said, okay, maybe there's a few more traditional soldiers who would be able to come. And so the truth is that regretfully, there were 3 or 4 of the people who are a little, traditional plus, who were out on a mission at the time. So we weren't so optimistic, but after a few minutes, we started singing Kabbalat Shabbat, and a few more people come. We ended up with 11 soldiers, which was fantastic. We davened Kabbalat Shabbat, and then Marev, and then actually between Kabbalat Shabbat and we were going to go straight into Marev, and then the soldiers themselves, they turned to me and they said, Rabbi, if you can say some words before about the parasha, about Shabbat. So what I shared with them is I said, look, we're in the first parasha of the year, right? The Torah starting from the beginning again. I said in the first pasuk, Bereshit bara Elohim et hashamayim ve'et haaretz, and Rashi comes and he says on this famous Rashi, and I said to them, what does Rashi have to say about the pasuk about creation of the world? He says, Koach ma'asav v'gid le'amo latet lahem nechalat goyim. Hashem wanted to notify his strength to his people, that he inherits the land, inherits them the land. And I said, and that's a very, and then he goes, and then Rashi goes on to say that to teach us that Hashem created the world, and therefore it's up to him to decide who gets what land, and he can decide that this nation will get this land, and if he wants, he'll take the land from them and give it to another land. And he basically says, and therefore no one could come and claim that we took Eretz Yisrael without any right. Rather, Hashem gave us the land, and it's his to give. He said to them, it's very strange. Out of all the things you can say about the creation of the world, of the meaning of the creation of the world, and Hashem talks about the fact that Rashi comes and he says, oh, this is to notify Am Yisrael that we have a right from Hashem to be in Eretz Yisrael. It's a very strange thing to choose to talk about. And I said, well, if we understand when Rashi lived and when he's writing his Perush, he lived and he experienced and he saw and he witnessed with his own eyes the first Crusades. And the truth is, it's very reminiscent of at least some of the descriptions are very reminiscent of the terrible things that we know that happened just 1 week ago. So Rashi's living during those times. And I'm trying, and I said, listen, imagine the Jews in France and Germany at that time, and they see the Christians and the Muslims fighting back and forth. Or who's gonna conquer and control the land of Israel, the Holy Land, and the Jews are sitting cowering away throughout Europe, hoping that no one will notice them. And as the Christians are heading to conquer Israel, the Holy Land, they're butchering the Jews. And Rashi is sitting in the middle of all of it, and he needs to give hope, and not just hope. He's saying the truth, of course, and he's explaining. Listen, that despite what we see in the Jews in the 11th century, despite what they see in front of their eyes, it says, look, remember, there's Hashem. Hashem created the world. It is Hashem's world, and He is the one who ultimately controls things, and ultimately things will go in a certain direction. And as difficult as it might seem to see it now, He says to them, "Listen, you need to be filled with conviction and believe that despite what you see in front of your eyes, at the end of the day, Eretz Yisrael belongs to Am Yisrael, and Am Yisrael will end back there, despite everything you see in front of your eyes." So I said to the soldiers. So even though it seems like it might be reminiscent, it's a world of difference. because we don't have to. We're not sitting in Europe. We're not being persecuted. We're not powerless. Rather, we're sitting here, and we see that Hashem has given us Eretz Yisrael, but we still need to listen to Rashi, because what Rashi is saying is, look, it's not about telling other people that Hashem gave us Eretz Yisrael. It's about telling ourselves. Rashi says, Koach Masa V'Gid Le'amo. Hashem wants to display His strength to us, to Amo, to His nation, meaning that when we read about Bereshit, that Hashem created the world, one of the first things we need to understand that means is that Eretz Yisrael is ours. Is it Hashem? It is Hashem's world. It is Hashem's land, and He gave it to His people, and He wants us to remember that, and to say it, and to believe it, and to think it, and to strengthen our own conviction in the fact that this is Hashem's land, which He gave to us, and it is our land, and we are here by divine right. And the more we are able to remember that and say it to ourselves, the more we will be filled with conviction in what we are doing and why we are doing it. And once we know it, then we will also fight for it, and we'll fight for it for the right reason. And to the degree that we will be filled with conviction, to say it, to feel it, to believe it, and to fight for it, this will also project to our enemies, and also to our friends around the world. It starts from our own conviction, and from there it spreads to everyone and everywhere else. A little bit later, went around to make Kiddush in different locations. It's not possible to bring all the soldiers together to do Kiddush in one place. It's a pretty big area. Different soldiers are stationed in different areas. Some of them have to can't move from where they are. So went around, did Kiddush, spoke to the soldiers a little bit in each place, wherever I could reach. And after that, I went back to the area where my tent was. A few of us sat down. We had some challah. But not much other than that. Meaning we had a regular. We don't have warm food or anything like that. We have these. They're called manot karav. They are these little boxes that have within them probably about 10 different cans. So there's a few cans of tuna. There's a can of chocolate spread. A can of what else is in there? Of hummus, not hummus that you, not meaning actual grains of hummus. There's corn, olives, pineapple. So each one of these things is supposed to be enough for 4 people to eat. So we took 2 of them out. We had some challah, and we tried to have as festive a meal as we could. We sang Shalom Aleichem a little bit more. Shared a few words of Torah. We were probably about 3 or 4 soldiers because everyone else was busy doing other things. Jumping forward to the following day, there were a few soldiers who were available to go to walk a few minutes to the moshav that's nearby us and to go daven with the minyan at the shul. And when they came back, they came to me and I said, "No, so how'd it go? Everything okay? You got there okay? How'd it go?" And they said, "Yes, we got there. It's X amount of minutes to walk." And they received us very nicely. They gave us all the kibudim to open the heichal and take out the sefer and the aliyah. He said, one of the guys then said to me, he said, "But I wasn't willing to accept the kibud." I said, "Why not?" He said, because I was Machal Shabbat, so I didn't feel right to get a kibud. So I said to him, "What do you mean you were Machal Shabbat?" He said, "Because I used my phone." I said to him, but I first of all, I cringed, and I said to him, "But you remember what I said? I said that you can use your phone. Not only you can use your phone, you have to use your phone to check for updates because some of the messages come from the commanders and the missions that we're doing come by phone. So you have to look at your phone to see to see if you got any messages." So he said to me, "Yes, I know that." He said, "But I also looked at other things. I looked at so I couldn't get an aliyah." I said to him, "Chas v'chalila." I said, "You are not to think that you are Mechalel Shabbat." I said, and I was heartbroken. I said to him, I said to him, I forbid you from thinking to yourself that you were Mechalel Shabbat because you looked at other things while you're at war, fulfilling a mission where you have to look at your phone. I said to him, I don't want you to leave this Shabbat in the future, look back on this with regret and feel bad that you were Mechalel Shabbat by looking at your phone. And we had a long conversation about it, in which I repeated to him the halachot of Milchama on Shabbat. They're not very well known for good reason, and maybe thank God that they're not very well known. But there's a special halacha in Masechet Sanhedrin. The Ramban brings it also, that it's permitted to do war on Shabbat, adri deta, and that Shabbat is not just nidche before war, but it's mutar during war. So I went to this whole thing, and I was very, very moved by what he said, but I felt it was extremely important for him not to have any type of guilt about looking at his phone on Shabbat, which he's obligated to do for the purpose of the war. So just because he looked at other things. So without getting into the whole halachic side of it, it's just amazing to see the sensitivity that people have during war, during the most extreme situations, to Shmirat Shabbat, to Shmirat Halacha, to tradition, to the point where he was not willing to get an aliyah because he felt it was Mechal Shabbat. It's just blew me away, and I was extremely, extremely touched by it, moved by it. But I very much hope that he understood the point I was trying to make.